got Quentin Jones, Satirov here with us. So we'll question Skylar, please, guys.
This one's going to be for both of you. So what did you feel was just not going your way in that first half where you find yourself down double digits for most of the first 20?
I think mainly it's ball screen coverage in the half, and it's most of that is on me, and I'll take the blame on that. I got to be better in coverages. Just keep working on that. I think we did a better job second half, and I think we won it the second half by a good amount. That was the difference.
Yeah, just some of the little things that we had to clean up, just as far as finding shooters, rebounding. They kind of hit us a little hard in the first half, but we responded and made some adjustments.
You guys able to come back in that second half where you make one score possession late in the game. Just this is for both of you. Just what you feel picked up for you as a team.
We started making shots. Defense played a part in that too. We had to make adjustments and figure out how to make them miss. And then after that, we had to rebound. So just realizing what we had to fix in the second half, and guys started stepping up, making shots.
Yeah, I think we got out in transition too. When we rebounded, we started passing it up more, and I think we had 17 assists or something like that. Moved the ball well too.
And then Quinn, you have, I believe it was 25 points today. Just what do you think went into putting together the performance you had today?
Just believing that my teammates and my coaching staff trust me to go out there and just be me. Just trying to helping create for others helps open things up for myself. So just being aggressive and making plays.
And shy of a win, what do you want to see this team accomplish in these last two games in the regular season?
I would say we've been playing together. We just finding that way to complete it for 40 minutes. I know you said other than winning, but that's the main thing at this point. It's all that matters is trying to get one.
And same question for you, Sweat.
We just got to keep fighting, man. We probably have every game we've came back and we fought. We really just got to finish it out, and we had a chance there at the end. Couldn't get the ball, but we're always in it.
Opening too, I say opening the game. We keep putting ourselves in holes. So just starting off stronger and being able to punch first.
That's all I got, Donna.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thought we competed. Lack of size and our inability to finish plays, key plays. I thought, and you look at the second chance points was 10-0. They had possessions that they extended when they needed to, and I thought, we had our first shot defense was good, but when you don't have a front line, that's really tough, especially with a team that's 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", and physical. So, and then we shot ourselves in the foot. We were 4 for 11 from the free throw line. Uncharacteristic from that regard, but this is down at the end of the season when you're banged up and your margin of error is slim. Everyone has to step up, and I thought we had the right intentions at times. We had 14 turnovers, which is pretty high, and we, offensively we had 17 assists. So at times the ball moved, but we didn't do a good enough job when it mattered to get a stop and to make the right decision on offense.
I feel this team's a little snake bitten right now. I mean, towards the end of the year.
Yeah, a little bit. Just the weirdest things happens. Guys are banged up. Shots that normally go in, right? JD, is a pretty good free throw shooter. He misses the back end of a foul. But this happens during the course of the year, right? I mean, Stephen Tipton, who's a really good walk-on for us, is playing, and down a stretch, and had an opportunity to tie the game. No excuses. This is the way the ball has bounced for us over the last 18 months, and we've been, decimated with injuries. Nazir Muhammad couldn't finish the game due to an ankle sprain, so we're going to go out and we're going to try to figure out in the offseason what we got to do to keep our guys healthy, because that's a major concern. Just the sheer amount of injuries that we've occurred over the last 18 months.
Coach, when you look back at this game, where did you see the biggest improvements from the first half to the second half?
Good question. Settling down. I mean, if you look at the first half, we had first half we had 7 assists, so we had 10 in the second half. But the flip side, we only had 6 turnovers, so we doubled that. Right, we ended up with 14. And so we were just uncharacteristic, just throwing the ball all over the floor in key moments. But I mean, that happens when your guard play isn't where it needs to be, and you don't have a guy that can be able to create for Quentin and Dent. Those guys got to do a lot, and teams are loading up, and they're going to make them make the right play every time. And if you don't, it's going to put us in harm's way. And I think Quentin, uncharacteristic, had 6 turnovers.
Talk about like the team learning how to win. I mean, is that kind of the thing that you just try to finish a game here to try to get a win?
Yeah, and we do it every day, meaning special situations, because we had 2 outliers all year. Miami of Ohio at their place and Ohio at their place. The games we're losing by 3.4 points per game, right? And so some of this stuff is being able to correct stuff early, right? And we haven't done a good job of making key plays when it matters, whether it's a rebound, whether it's a block out, whether it's making a free throw. Thank you. Those things are biting us in the butt, especially when you're undermanned. And these kids are fighting. Give them credit. We got 7 guys, and we have 2 guys over 6'7". And so, we're in these games, but it's a matter of can we do the little things that can help you win and finish out, and we have yet to do that.
And Coach, when you look back at this max schedule, and I know you've talked about how this team has dealt with injuries, what have been some of the other big challenges you've had to try to overcome in this MAC play?
It was hard to really gauge this team because we didn't have a consistent, we haven't practiced, I want to say, with a complete lineup since November, right? And so we haven't had a full team practice since December. And so it's really hard to know when you don't have continuity, whether it's in practice, film sessions. It's been really hard to figure out who's going to be available. And then guys are playing pretty much out of position. If you look at the top echelon of the league, those guys are consistently rolling out the same guys every night. Every night, Akron and Kent State, those guys are playing their main guys. And some of our guys are worn down, like Quentin Jones and James Dent. I think Quentin missed 1 practice, and James is probably 2 from June to present day. So there's a lot of wear and tear on Quentin Jones's body, and the same thing with Dent, that these guys are mentally fatigued because of all of the reps. And so we had to monitor that, and so we had to scale back on practice and do a lot of film sessions and walkthroughs versus getting, continuity in practice.
You Talk about the injuries. When you talk to some of your colleagues in the off season to see maybe what they're doing maybe differently than what you guys are doing in the off season to, keep guys healthy?
Yeah, and that's a good question because we already started the process of really trying to figure out from a recruiting standpoint, like we got to get certain guys, and some of it is injury prone, some of it is also toughness, being able to push through. That's a big factor. But right now, Ken Palm does something with on his site. We're the 357th unluckiest team in college basketball. Like, that's a real number. So, but some of the stuff that we got to do is we got to recruit guys that can battle through some injuries because injuries are part of the game. Right? There's no way the team's going to get from start to finish with the same amount of bodies, and all of them going to be healthy. So we got to continue to recruit depth, but some of it is going to be toughness and being able to fight through some things.
So you expect a lot of these guys in the roster now to be back? I know you overhauled it, from a year ago.
Yeah.
You don't hope to do that again? Or?
No, we're going to have a couple guys leave to graduation, but the nucleus of Quentin Jones and Denton, those guys will be back. But we got to add a point guard. We got to add some size and some girth and athleticism. I think, if you look at some of the top echelon teams, they got guys that are like 6'4", 6'5", that can play 1 through 3 that are pretty athletic. And I thought, this group is competing, but we're not. We're overmatched in certain areas of the game.
Which way would you go, portal, or would you go out of high school?
At this level, you got to go a combination. We've gotten a commitment from a pretty good player already. We have 3 committed, but you got to go pretty much. You got to get older. If you look at Akron, those guys are getting older. If you look at Missouri, they were 0-18 last year, 0-19. Right, they went out and got a transfer from Iowa Perkins, and they went out and got older guys with experience, and now they're top 10 team. Right, so the fortunes are bad now, but we got to figure out the injury stuff, and we got to make a correction there with our off-season training because that's been plaguing us since the last 2 years for us.
Are the commitments out of high school, or are they in college right now?
One kid is an international kid, and then we have 3 high school kids. When I say high school, most of those 3 guys are prep school kids, so they're really a 5th-year high school guys.
And Coach, with these last 2 games of the regular season, shy of a win, what do you want to see from this team to give you some confidence heading into the offseason?
Just continue to compete. Just being able to. The good thing is experience is learned through action, right? Like being in these games, for Quentin Jones is huge, and it'll play really good dividends, going into next season. I want to compete. Right, obviously we were pretty embarrassed at Miami of Ohio, lose by 28, and so that was a really kick in the gut because prior to that game we were in every game, and so we had to regroup, 1-day prep. We gave them 2 days off, and then we got back to the things that we can control. Playing hard, playing together, playing the right way, and then but going into these next 80 minutes, we're going to try to go out and get a win, especially on senior night. Sent out Joe and Doro and Harvin, who played for us last year, is going to walk. He didn't have the opportunity last year to do so. We're going to send these guys out and try to go out with a win, especially being the last home game. But for 80 minutes, we're going to go out and we're going to give it our all.
I know when you took the job, you wanted to bring Illinois kids in here to be part of your program.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to see any, maybe possibly some Illinois kids?
Yeah.
Either in college or playing high school right now?
Yeah, high school at this point, unless you are a top echelon kid, like the MAC, you got to get guys that are ready right away. But we got 2 guys that we're actively involved with that are from the Chicagoland area. I like our chances with the 2. But the key thing is getting the right guys that can compete at this level, whether it's local, Chicago, Ohio. Like we got at this juncture, we got to get the best players. But we're actively recruiting Chicago kids.
Coach, you'll probably have to wait to see who's available at the end of the season, too.
Yeah, this stuff's I think the portal opens the 24th, and teams are entering, the conclusion of their season. That thing's going to be open, and so high school kids are unfortunately they're going to get squeezed, and so we're strategically trying to get guys who are typically at a higher level because everyone's searching the portal. So. The portal is not going to solve all of our illnesses because everyone's going to be competitively trying to get some of those guys. So we got to be really, really strategic on who we get and who we go after.
And really, the high school kids have been squeezed since COVID. And trying to get a scholarship.
Yeah, and at our level, it's really hard because now you got to bring in a collective, right? You got to bring in NIL. If you look at the MAC overall, Quentin Jones is averaging 16 a game. Last year, he'd have probably been the sixth leading scorer. Now he's a leading scorer in the MAC. If you look at Toledo, they typically get guys, any transfer, they get the premium. Now those guys are going to different schools because the money factor. And so the money factor is going to really, really greatly impact the portal and who comes into the MAC.
You lost 3 kids also.
Yeah, big programs, big paydays. Big paydays. So even bigger coming up next year. So, we're gonna be active. But we got to keep Dent and Quentin and some of those guys, the nucleus, and then we got to build around them with some size, athleticism, and toughness.
Anything else for Coach?
I'm good.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.